Hey there, hope you're all doing well. I've been giving this a lot of thought, the topic of protecting your peace, and I've had a couple of people reach out when I use that phrase to try to understand what does that really mean. And think of it as multiple layers. There's so many layers on how you can protect your peace, and everybody is just so different. Like there's no one answer. It's going deep inside and realizing what is your peace. Understanding what you value the most. And we can use the example of freedom, right? So my most important value to me is freedom. I need to know that I am free to be and do anything that I want to do. So if I begin to feel crowded, or I begin to feel stifled, or I begin to feel stagnant, it affects my peace. And I need to really sit down with myself. And I promise you, this is the work, right? This is not easy to do. And it's taken me decades to get to the point of even understanding what my peace was. So right now, you can probably tell I am at this beautiful beach. This is peace to me. So I do these things, not only because I enjoy it and I happen to live in paradise, but to me, it's an escape. I will definitely turn my phone off. I discovered the most amazing button. It's called Do Not Disturb. And I love this button because I actually didn't really realize for a long time that was an option. I felt like I always needed to be on. I always needed to be available. That did affect my peace. So now in the morning, my phone goes on Do Not Disturb at about 7 o'clock at night. Yeah, so Wes and I turn in early and we get up around 3:30, 4 o'clock. Do Not Disturb is still on. I've gotten much better not picking up my phone until 7, 8 o'clock ideal. 7 is really kind of where I'm at right now. I'm pushing for it to be 9. There is no hurry for me to affect my peace at that time of the morning. There's just not, right? Anybody else's emergency, I cannot take on as my own. Doesn't mean I don't care, doesn't mean I don't want to know if somebody's in a really bad place. However, if I am going to protect and strengthen myself, I need to be able to go at it with a full tank. All right, so here's one of the best analogies that as I was doing this deep dive on myself, I discovered I was like a car. I was like a tank of gas, okay? So if I am running around and just giving away parts of my peace, whether it's a job that I hated, and I never did that for long. That was really a quick recorrect for me. I never did a job for longer than was necessary. I've always pretty much worked for myself because I, without realizing it, knew that freedom was my most important value. So if I began to feel like stuck or unappreciated or like a machine, I quickly figured out a way to get out of that. And multiple streams of income gave me that option. I found things that I was really passionate about, and I learned how to make a living doing those things. So people were my passion. But anyways, get back to the car. So if I'm running around and I'm just giving up my peace, and now it's time for me to take care of me, I could be running on a very empty tank. And so it was around my 40s or so when I started to realize, why am I saying yes when I already know it should be a hard no? And that's when I discovered no was actually a sentence. So, wonderful people will ask you to do great things, right? If they don't align with you or who you are, it's okay to say no. It's okay to protect your peace. Define what's important to you. If it's your family, and that's really important that you spend time with your family, what is it that's keeping you from that? What is taking you away from your values? What is taking you away from feeling alive and peaceful and happy within yourself? So running around trying to control other people's drama will suck you dry. Okay, let's go back to the let them theory. Read the freaking book over. I've read it several times already, and it just came out a couple months ago because it is constantly work. We don't ever arrive into this. So you need to be able to define the difference between helping another, which we all should do, right? That's the great connection. When someone's in need, lend a hand, lend an ear, give your eyes to them, like eye contact. And I apologize for the glasses, it's only because of the glare. But anyways, you have to define enabling and trying to control someone else's actions. So I had a friend recently that, her loved one is in a really bad way. So she like completely devotes her entire life to praying that he'll turn his life around. I got to tell you, it's sucking her dry. All right. So as much as you love that person and you want something different for them, understand that's you wanting to control their life. That's not them making their own choice. Just let them, and let you retain your peace. Okay, the only thing you can control are your thoughts, your emotions, and your reactions. All right, it's really important to understand that you cannot control the outcome that involves other people. So what is robbing you of your peace? And I want to walk you through it. For those of you that have read my book, I've been asked by quite a few people to kind of elaborate more on some of the things in my book. So we're going to talk about the ways that I protected my peace. And it took such a long time to get to this point because I allowed everybody else's needs in front of mine. And one of the things that I didn't realize at the time is that my kids needed me. They didn't need the shit, okay? I never bought electronics for my kids. I told them from a long time ago, anything that begins or ends in a vowel will never come from me. If you want a phone, you want anything like that, you need to get a job. And I'm firm on that, and I'll never waver, and I don't regret it. That was definitely the best thing I could have done, because little Johnny doesn't need a damn phone, and I don't need to go work super hard and spend $1,000 for a kid to have a phone. Not going to happen. Anyways, that's just my little rant on how we... Yeah, we'll have a parenting talk some other day. So anyways, I didn't realize that the things that were taking me away from my kids and the time that I spent doing for another was filling what I thought was my self-worthiness. It really wasn't. It really wasn't feeling my self-worthiness. I was feeling worse and worse and worse, but I didn't realize why. I couldn't understand why, because I didn't know how to identify my thoughts and my emotions. I had no idea. Self-love to me was like being conceited and like, well, you're not supposed to love yourself. And as soon as you say you do, but you're just like, who the hell do you think you are? Like, that's just crazy. Going to get a massage, like, who the hell would do that? Like, I couldn't even fathom spending money on myself because I didn't realize there was actually a tank and I needed to do that. So really sitting there and kind of writing these things down. What is peaceful to me? When do I feel my best? When do I feel the fullest? When does my heart begin to swell and my heart shows up in my eyes and in my smile? When does that happen? What am I doing? Or who am I being? Most important. Oftentimes you may find that you're not doing anything. You're actually honoring yourself and who you are, or maybe who you want to be. So, protecting your peace is a lot more than not having negative people in your head. Another thing that I learned, social media came off my phone. Done. There's no more doom scrolling. I'm a post and a ghost kind of person. I do go in there to engage, and I do go in there to see how people are doing, but the scrolling stuff is done. I mean, I think that, social media serves a great purpose when you're trying to get a message out, and right now the world is really hurting. It's really hurting a lot. So, protecting others' peace is really important to me as well. And learning to identify what exactly that means. It means, what am I sharing with others? How am I showing up for others? And then back to, how am I showing up for me? So, like take the news, for example. When COVID came, I was like an avid news person. I just had to know what the hell was going on. And then I realized my peace was in great jeopardy. I was beginning to feel so incredibly anxious. It was the Facebook anxiety. It was the news anxiety. And and it really, really, really important to know, anxiety is something that's not even real. Okay? It's not real. We don't have tomorrow. There is no tomorrow promised. Yesterday is gone. All we have are a series of todays. We have a series of todays. Hopefully we have a lot of them. But how do we live for the one that we've got right now? What are we engaging in? What are we letting in our mind? Who are we hanging around with? The 5 people that are closest to you, that's who you will begin to emulate. So, going back to the job thing, I used to have jobs where, for example, I worked for the post office, right? I got a dream job with the post office. Oh man, Andrew was just a baby. He was like 6 months old, and I worked the middle of the night. I had amazing paychecks. I had all kinds of benefits. It was so incredibly toxic. I lasted about 6 months. And then I knew I'm not motivated by money. I am definitely not motivated by money. I was not going to stay in some bullshit for money. I needed to be there for me, and I needed to be there for my son as a whole person. And this is way before I knew what protect your peace even meant. But I'm really careful the situations that I allow myself to be in. I love to be of service. I don't like to be in toxic environments. I don't like to be with groups of people that are consistently talking about how bad things are. I can't do that. And then I find myself getting caught up in the same conversation. It's just not good. So really, there's some wonderful tools that you can use. Identifying what your piece is really key. What's important to you, what makes you feel the most alive and makes you feel like you. Where is it that you serve? How do you show up for the people that you love and the people that you want to spend time with? Most importantly, how do you show up for you? So one of the best books that I have ever read on this topic, and this is another one I've read a couple of times, it's a book by NFL player Trent Shelton. He's a retired NFL player. His message in the book is called Protect Your Peace. It's incredible. I highly recommend that you pick up this book, pick up the audio, whatever it is that works for you, and listen to it. You can absolutely keep on doing what you're doing, and that's perfectly fine. But if you want to live an exceptional life, you need to be an exceptional student. I hope this helps. Any further questions on this, please let me know. Thank you to all of you that actually asked me, what does protect your peace mean to you, and how do you do that? So I was able to do this video for you. Please share it with anybody that you think might find it valuable. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.